Yo, they gave the character from Super Smash Bros. An anime. I knew he was popular based on the sheer amount of similar characters in the game, but I had no idea he was this popular. You know what? I'm surprised they haven't made a bunch of games following these characters so you can learn more about their backstories and the friends they made along the way. But then later on, down the line, make it so they ruffle the hardcore players' feathers by making it into a waifu or shipping only simulator that has absolutely no phenomenal writing or great stories, a weak cast of characters, and really just no real tactical gameplay that's built and fleshed out as it goes. Scoff. Shake my head. Unbelievable. Anyway, real talk. They actually made an anime adaptation for the Fire Emblem games. I genuinely cannot believe it. I mean, I stumbled onto it, complete accident. I was just trying to find Season 2 for Fire Force, and I type in Fire, and the first thing that comes up is Fire Emblem dub. Not even like subbed or anything, dub. So, of course, I'm such a big Fire Emblem fan at this point that I couldn't help but just immediately click on that. I mean, for God's sake, I have like a Fates one poster that's always been in the background since the very first video at this point, and just there's no way I wasn't clicking on it immediately. And boy oh boy, what a ride. It's only 2 episodes because that shit got canceled so fast. I mean, I think Fire Emblem, for anybody that is kind of in the know with this series, it was very underground and very just like exclusive to the other side of the world and very much neglected by the West for the longest time, probably until like the mid 2000s, and that's scratching the surface. I'm pretty sure Marth actually got added to Smash and nobody knew who that character was, like what they came from, until much later over here. And now it's pretty much like a well-known household staple for Nintendo. So the most recent game at the point of this video being recorded was Three Houses, and that game was phenomenal. But like since 2013, when the 3DS kind of grabbed the series, it exploded because it changed a lot of stuff, made it more casual, and Jesus, it's insane to think how far it's come at this point. But when this adaptation came out, it was in 1996, and this was very much when it still had no real popularity, and I'm surprised it got a dub and didn't just get kind of bootleg transferred over here for the time. Because yeah, it's not a surprise it got canceled, because it's not even like terrible, but it's not like average either. It's just kind of bad. So unfortunately they don't really get the ball rolling that much, but there are some promising bits in there, and then there's a lot of shit that's just wrong. So the basic premise of the 2 episodes that were adapted follow the 3rd game of the Fire Emblem franchise, and I guess also part of the 1st game because 1 and 3 are connected, because the main character Marth, or as apparently the localized name wants to make it, Mars, follows their journey for like the first 3 chapters of the 3rd game. And it's super odd that they picked that of all places, because I mean, there were so many different things to choose from up until that point already. So it's just kind of weird that they wanted the 3rd game rather than starting, you know, the actual beginning of the series. But I digress. The localized name for being Mars, not even a nitpick. That's fine that they want to change it. What I do have to nitpick about it is they literally call him Marth and Mars. So it sounds like they're using it as like a nickname or a pet name for some of the like childhood friend characters. But that's just weird because they'll just flip-flop, and it's just like, but why? The art style is like that typical 90s style, which I have a soft spot for, but it's very hit or miss. I feel like you either really like that or you really dislike it. And it's not like peak 90s like art. It's not like Cowboy Bebop or Eva, like that kind of fitting into that mold, it's just kind of generic 90s. So yeah. And for this being a really obscure dub that just got picked up for this brief moment of time, it's really not that bad. I actually have the least amount of complaints with the actual voice acting. However, the lip syncing, nowhere near. It is just, people will just talk and then the dialogue will follow. It's so bad. That's really all I have to say about the actual like dubbing and voice acting bit of it. It's passable. I have no real complaints about it. The music, I feel like it uses a lot of the tracks from the games because it does use the actual licensed and main theme of the franchise for the outro and end credits, which is a great theme. I think it just fits very well because it's just, I don't know, it's just soothing and a very nice theme to listen to. They really nailed it with that. But other than that, the music is like this generic, just absolutely forgettable soundtrack that's just kind of seems thrown in there. If it is something that kind of works off of what's established in the games and I just forgot, there's no way I'm going to be able to tell because they're insignificant. I will say the animation does get at least a little bit of credit from me because there are scenes where there's like wind blowing and the hair and all the characters' clothing moves and stuff, which looks fluid relatively for the times, and I do like that. I remember noticing that and being like, oh, that actually looks pretty good given the circumstances of what I'm watching. The writing, on the other hand, oh my god, the first episode, it's fine. It gets the beats across and you can follow along and it does its job. The second out of the 2 episodes, though, has this huge scene that I'm not letting it slide. Holy shit. There is literally like, there's so many characters, so it follows Marth as the main character, but then it follows a bunch of side characters anyway. And this character literally goes up against these pirate bandits and saves this girl or damsel in distress and literally like beats the bad guys and saves her, and they're standing there. And then the very next, I shit you not, it literally cuts to the next scene and she's back captured by the pirate bandits and he's waking up to Marth and his crew, like crippled in critical condition. Just like, what, did they get him out of order? Like, did we just mess this up? It makes no sense. And then they rescue her again. Like, it's so weird. It's just like, was there 2 different scenes they couldn't make up their mind between, so they just kind of went with both, even though they both have very different story implications based on what they should. It's just, what? Like, that's really the most glaring issue with the story. So even if this continued, if stuff like that happened, it would have actually been a just absolute shit show. So it's hard to really tell because we only got this, and I highly doubt we're getting another episode 24 years later. This was really before the time where because I feel like with the 3DS games, they started implementing like anime looking cutscenes into the story, and those scenes are amazing. Oh my god, if we got a show, I would be totally down to get an adaptation of one of the games or a completely unique story that looks like how they make in those games, it just expanded on, because especially with the most recent Fire Emblem having entirely voice acted for the game, even like the tiny little dialogue has it, and then just these amazing cutscenes would just be great. There's so much potential there. However, just don't let it be like Shadows of Valencia, where I will show a clip of it if I can find it properly without just like grating everyone's eyes, but it's just super like clunky, and I'm sure it probably won't be that bad when I'm like actually looking at it if I did find some, because I'm just a big baby about it and it's become a meme at this point of how bad it was. But just like that CG just like clunk, like it just like, it's so grating to look at, as long as it's not that style. If it's just like the normal 2D style, then I am 100% down. It has so much potential, seriously. It's just a shame it feels like they jumped the gun with what they tried to do way before, when it didn't have nearly any popularity, and I think it actually has a chance of getting a head start and getting some ground covered if they tried it these days. I mean, everything seems to be getting an adaptation at this point, and just being decent at the worst, or insultingly bad, or very good. But decent seems to be where most things fall, rather than most stuff being just like a 4 or a 3 like it might have been back in the day. So for better or worse, the series was canceled. I would be curious to see how it would have turned out had it not been canceled, but too early to say, so this is all we can work with. There was no way I wasn't making a video when I stumbled onto that, because it caught me so off guard that I think I audibly went, what is that? So that's all I really have to talk about for today. If you did enjoy this short ramble lunacy rant on just random discoveries on very obscure adaptations, then leave a like on the video, share it with anybody you know would be interested. If you're not subscribed already, do it. That's all I really have to say about that. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!